Do you live in Los Angeles or the Southern California area or know somebody who does? Well, in this episode, we are going to be talking about financial planning issues specific to LA residents and those areas around Los Angeles.
This is Impact Financial Planners with Bill
And Jason.
And the goal here is to make sustainable, responsible impact investing easy and accessible for socially conscious investors who want to make a difference with their investments.
Exactly. And thank you for joining us here today. So we want to just kind of jump right in and talk a little bit about some of the challenges you might face with your financial planning if you're a resident of the Los Angeles area or any of the surrounding communities, or just Southern California in general, or even Greater California in general.
Yeah, a lot of these will apply to...
There's some similarities there.
Yeah, apply to them.
Definitely.
One of the biggest issues that we find different in California than other states, it's not unique, but the high state taxes. And so you do want to pay special attention to shielding income from taxes, because it can be up to 13.3%. I mean, at higher incomes, of course, it's graded, but so you want to take care, maxing out 401ks, contributing to IRAs, being careful with even bonds, municipal bonds, tax-free investments, if possible.
Yeah, definitely.
If it applies.
For sure. And so, one of the big things, of course, in addition to higher state income taxes, is home prices. So, of course, Southern California, especially the Los Angeles area, is well known for very high home prices versus the rest of the U.S. So we kind of took a look at some of the neighborhoods and kind of broke it down on average home prices in those neighborhoods. And if you live in Southern California, this isn't going to be surprising to you. But if you live somewhere else, this might be a little bit surprising to you. So
it's incredible. The average home price in the U.S. is $255,000. And
right.
What do you find in other areas here?
So Beverly Hills, of course, that's going to be one of the higher ones. So around $2.5 million, a little over $2.5 million is kind of the average home price there. So yeah, pretty high. Just kind of going through,
Santa Monica, 1.8 million.
Mm-hmm. Hollywood Hills, 1.5 roughly. Even, Pasadena, close to 900,000. Malibu, not a surprise again, well over 2 million. So
downtown LA and southern LA, even though those aren't the richest neighborhoods of LA, we're talking $500,000 for average, median home prices. I mean, it's really high compared to the rest of the country.
Right. So it definitely makes it a challenge for a lot of people when it comes to financial planning, because for one, that's going to eat up generally a large portion of their income. So that's something you kind of have to plan for.
Yeah, rule of thumb is you want your rent or your mortgage payments to be about a third or less of your income. That might not be practical in Southern California.
Absolutely. And then, in addition to that, if you're looking at, say, purchasing rentals or something like that for income property, for wealthier clients, it's going to be a much higher outlay just to purchase a rental property if you're looking to get, some monthly sustainable income from it. So there's kind of that drawback, but
I think too, with high real estate prices, cost of living just is more expensive. You're competing. Every store or every business needs to pay these super high prices, and they need to increase the cost of restaurants or of retail stores. Any store is going to have to make up for that rental or real estate price in their prices.
Yeah. But it can also work as a benefit. So a lot of times we'll see people that retire from the LA area and decide to move to another part of the country. They sell their home. Well, the value of that home versus what the cost of purchasing a home, say in Phoenix, Arizona, or something like that, it's, a huge difference. So then they do have sort of like a forced savings plan within that home where they've had to pay into it to build up, a value of, maybe $2 million over that 30
Yeah, just
years or
because of
whatever
that
time.
incredible growth. I mean,
Right.
if you got into the real estate market 10 years ago, I mean, you've just seen huge growth, and that is a big portion of your portfolio, and that can be an issue as well. You could have your portfolio heavy in real estate, just with your primary residence, and not be that diversified. So if there is a housing crash or an issue, that could affect you more than it could affect someone with a more diversified holdings.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of things to consider around, the higher real estate prices and.
I just wanted to mention capital gains. So you get an exclusion of $250,000 per person or $500,000 per couple on that first, or on the gain in your house. And for most of the country, that covers it. You pay no capital gains on selling your primary residence because the growth isn't that much. In California, we have seen the increase in value be more than $500,000 or $250,000 if it's a single person. And in cost basis is the price you paid for it plus the cost of any capital improvements, cost of the sale. So it's really the difference between that cost basis and your selling price. That's the capital gain. How much do you make? How much did you make on that property? And again, that exclusion's pretty large. The rule is you have to live there 2 of the last 5 years to qualify as a primary residence. But as a footnote, if it was a rental property, you can't just live in it for 2 years and then it's all free, or you get this total exemption of $500,000 for a couple. It's proportional. If you rented it for 10 years and then you lived in it for the last 2 years, well, only 2/12 will be deductible. I mean, it's based on how much of the life of that property was while you owned it was rental versus residential.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's an issue, again, a lot of the rest of the country doesn't deal with.
Mm-hmm. And so, that's one of those things where the real estate prices kind of turns into a tax issue as well. So it all kind of balls up into one bigger thing to consider when you're living in that part of the country. So beyond that too, insurance. So earthquake insurance is something you typically don't have to have in the majority of the country, but in Southern California, in most places you're going to have that.
Yeah, and it's a separate policy that doesn't automatically get covered if you have homeowners insurance.
Right, yeah. If you're building a new home, taking earthquakes into consideration, that can add additional cost to new construction. Or if you're renovating, making sure it meets the codes for earthquake compliance. Higher car insurance, that seems to be an issue too. So just all kind of rolls into that higher cost of living.
Higher cost of living. I think that's something for people relocating to Southern California. I mean, I know there's a lot of online sources to kind of gauge the cost of living, but it is, depending on what your spending pattern is, it's generally going to be a bit higher. But for good reason. I mean, great weather, it's great.
Absolutely,
I mean, there's a million good reasons.
Sure. And, there's certainly the payoff. There's the opportunity that comes with living in, a business hub like Los Angeles. So, you may have higher cost of living, but then you may also have significantly higher salary or higher, opportunities to generate income. So the two oftentimes do balance out. So it's not all negative. We do see that with a lot of our clients. They tend to have a higher net worth in general, just because that is just sort of what's more common in that area.
Yeah,
so,
and I guess with high real estate, it could be longer commutes. If you can find something that fits your price range, you may be commuting more.
Absolutely.
Which isn't the easiest thing to do in LA.
Yeah. And so kind of the role that we play in all of this is that, we are financial planners. We can help you take a look at that whole picture and make sure that, living in Los Angeles doesn't cause issues with your overall financial plan. Because there's certain things you may not be aware of. Somebody who doesn't normally work with clients in that area or doesn't have a good understanding of all of those issues could potentially miss some of the more important points of that.
Yeah. And so we're impactfinancialplanners.com, and feel free to visit us for a free meeting. We do meet with a lot of clients virtually, so they don't have to deal with the commute. It's a pretty expansive city, so we can take that hassle away.
Absolutely. And it's more environmentally friendly. You're not spending, an hour in your car each way just to meet with somebody to go over that. So that is, the other part of the business too is it's very important to us to help our clients really live out their values through their investments. So we give them options to do that so they can actually make a difference with their investing throughout the globe.
You got it. To be able to invest in what you want to invest in, to match your values, engage in shareholder advocacy, community investing. And I think that's very, in the LA community, that's a very, socially conscious population.
It's becoming more and more important to people, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. It's nice having the option. All right, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Please comment on the video if you have any questions. We will respond to you directly. And you can also book an appointment with us through our website, which is impactfinancialplanners.com.
Yeah. Thanks.